This video response is to Matt Larson 10 and all the people, I can't name them all off the top of my head, but I listen a lot to Matt Larson 10, along with checking out many pro Ron Paul websites every day. And I just want to say that I have been motivated, enthused, and somewhat infuriated to the point of action. I kind of sat back and I developed my beliefs, and they were strong, and I talked to my little sphere of influence here in my family and people I knew. And then I just kind of sat back and I watched the delegate count increase, and I saw that action was taking place, and I thought, this is great. And then lately, with these actions from the Romney camp trying to take the delegates back away to marginalize Ron Paul's influence, to take away these hard-fought gains, I think he's raping these kids of what they've invested in this political system. And he's going to have a cynical, nasty group of citizens who are going to say, why the hell bother when the establishment can just come in and change the rules? We have a golden opportunity over the next month, maybe a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to really make a change. And it can't be just, I'm going to Ron Fest, that's it. That's going to be it. Everybody's going to look at us at Ron Fest, and they're going to, all of a sudden, they're going to snap their fingers and say, yeah, Ron Paul. I believe, and this is what drew me to action, was it's everybody in every corner of the United States and abroad who say, I've got a talent, I've got a skill, I've got an ability. You know, plumbers for Paul, you know, fish throwers, garbage collectors. Everybody has a talent where they can write Ron Paul in the dirt of their truck, where they can mow it into their yard, they can paint it on the side of their barn, they can do whatever their talent is. Some people have great talent for making videos, and they've inspired me to use my talent to do something. And everybody, people who write music, people who do political cartoons, people who can post things, people can litter their front yard with signs, people, and nothing illegal, but to get the news media to pay attention. You know, I mean, when Coney hit, the whole Coney thing, I'm a high school teacher. It was insanity. I'm talking about insanity, and I'm the graphic design teacher. So here comes 30 to 40 of our seniors demanding that we print full-size banners to make Coney famous. And I said, look, guys, it costs money to do that stuff. You can't just print the 300 full-color banners in here. You just can't do it. Where's the money going to come from? And they were infuriated. They went to the principal's office. They weren't trying to necessarily get me in trouble, but they were motivated, enthusiastic, and it all petered out. It all died, mainly because of the misbehavior of the leader. Does anybody really think that Ron Paul's going to misbehave? Does anybody really believe that we're going to be ashamed like we were, like those of us who voted for Ross Perot were ashamed when he went, you know, aboard the spacecraft on his second run of president? Because that's what happened. I was totally Ross Perot, 100%. And then all of a sudden, he went on board a spacecraft, and you know, I think he had a frontal lobotomy from some aliens because he went off the deep end. And he said, you know, I threw it all away. I threw in the towel because my daughter got threatened. What kind of president is that? You know, seriously. So if your second cousin once removed gets threatened, are you going to make foreign policy based on that threat? I don't want a president like that. I don't want a president like that. You know, I want kids should be safe, but if he's that easily intimidated, wacko. Who thinks Ron Paul is going to alienate our trust? I don't. I mean, when I got motivated, I thought, man, I could make some shirts, and I could just say Ron Paul's still running for president. So I started telling people I'm going to make some shirts that say Ron Paul's running for president. I started stepping out of my shell and talking politics to people I never talked politics to. Over the last 4 days, I spoke to people at grocery stores, people I came across, friends, a guy I bought shirts from, and I've had 7 to 9 people who've told me, yeah, I'm a Ron Paul supporter. And these are all age groups. I would vote for Ron Paul, but he's not running. And I've convinced them differently. So I've had them sign my shirt. I've carried around different color Sharpies, and I say, hey, once I got the screen printed shirt, I said, hey, write your name on it. And I hope to fill these shirts up, and I'm going to fill these shirts up, and I'm going to put them in my yard like scarecrows, and I've got 5 acres of yard. and I'm going to put them up in my yard, and I'm going to litter my yard. And, you know, if Romney gets a nomination and Ron Paul's not an issue anymore, people will look at me as a whack job. But, you know, I'm a believer. I'm a believer. And I believe that if everybody used their talent nationwide, we would get attention. We would get attention like, look at this backing that you don't have, Romney. And maybe they would think twice. Maybe they would take another look. Maybe they would start talking to Paul about if you could just soften your stance on a few things, you know, we could back you. And it would give him the leverage to get his agenda across. And, you know, that's really, to me, ultimately what it's about, is getting the agenda across and getting things changed. And it's sometimes a slow process and sometimes it's fast. The only way it's going to happen in a flash of an eye is with a major tragic event. And I don't wish that on us. I don't wish a major meltdown. I have fear that it's coming. I have fear that it's going to happen. But I don't wish that on us. I don't sit up at night saying, yeah, buddy, let's have a world war so we can make Obama look bad, and let's let the markets fall so everybody will look to Ron and say, save us. I don't wish that on anybody. But that's the only way everybody's heads are going to turn instantly. Otherwise, it's going to be a slow, gradual turn. And it takes place by enough people saying, don't give up on these ideas. Almost every person I talk to, and I'm not necessarily in the most conservative area of Ohio, have said, Obama's a socialist, no doubt about it. And they agree with the point that is being made, and I've gotten on these websites and videos that I've watched, that you can have very little confidence in what Romney's going to do. But you can have all the confidence in the world in Ron Paul. You can have all the confidence in the world that you can count on him, because we beg, we plead, we want so desperately to have an honest politician. Not a Jimmy Carter honest politician that doesn't have, you know, the intellect to run a government. We want a smart, intelligent, strong person who will be honest. And there's nobody ever been made to fit that bill. I believe, could you imagine a nation that crosses the United States to the point where we had to declare war under a Paul presidency? They would be annihilated in a war. Because he doesn't want to have a war where we go in and prolong it for 3 years and build up the military complex. He wants to go in, take care of business, and come back home. And that's the way war, you know, if you're going to have war, that's the way to do it. I mean, I'm not talking nukes either. And you know, I look at people say, I've heard people say, we've got to be worried about Iran. Maybe Israel should be worried about Iran. Maybe we can let Israel handle that situation, because I have a feeling that if Iran proceeds with a nuclear policy, Israel will invade them. They'll invade them and they'll take their government over, and we stay out of that. Stay out of that. They're the democracy in the region, just like we're the democracy in this region. So if Mexico started misbehaving, the Monroe Doctrine gives us the right to take care of business on this continent. Maybe Israel should have their Netanyahu doctrine. I don't have all the answers, but I know one thing. I've been motivated, I've been enthused, and I'm willing to give away these t-shirts, the screen printing ability that I have on t-shirts if you'll send me one. I've got my email address. I'm going to put it in the description. If you're interested, email me. I'll give you my address, and all I ask is that you give me the postage to return the shirt to you. I'll screen print it front and back, or just front. It's black ink, so it's got to be a light colored shirt. You provide the shirt, I'll screen print the image, and I sent out a few links to what the image looks like. So if you're interested, I can also return that in an email so you can see what it looks like, decide if you even want it. But all it says is Ron Paul is still running for U.S. President, despite what you may have heard or you've been told. And that's real small at the bottom. So, you know, it's not an official Ron Paul shirt. It's just telling people that we're still in it. We're still in it. That's what it is. And I'm asking that, you know, if you're interested in helping out with the ink cost, 50 cents, or if you want to help out with it, you know, with any of the costs involved in this, you can use that same email address from my PayPal account if you decide you want to. Of course, that's completely optional. I'm not interested in making 1 cent. I'd be glad to do 1,000 shirts if it will get the word out. I told you what I'm planning on doing. Thank you to everybody who keeps the fires of liberty alive, and take action and don't just sit on their hands. Do something. Get involved. This is your government. Take it back. Take back the Constitution that has been raped and stolen from us. That's my opinion, for what it's worth.